Good morning. Black Ayatollah has a clickbait podcast. The dumbassery. Already, first thing in the morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hold on just 1 second. Good morning. Good morning to my freedom marchers, freedom lovers, freedom family, freedom fighters. Snapzilla gorillas up in this thing, hitting you all upside the head with this morning paper. Oh, yeah. Today we're going to be talking about the world's biggest losers. The world's biggest losers, Donald Trump and Benjamin Nosferatu. Yes, we'll be discussing that this morning while I get my ruck on, y'all. Yes, we got a rucking live this morning with our discussion. Yes, yes. So you guys come on in and let's get this started. I'm even thinking about picking this up later because I think I want to give people an opportunity to come onto the live stream and explain why government is necessary. Right? There are certain things I want to know. Okay. I want to know why people think government is necessary. Right? I want to know why they choose the lesser of two evils. Right? You know how that people do that, right? They know the government is corrupt. They know the left-right paradigm. They know the left-right dialectic, as Black Spring Autumn would say, is a bunch of bullshit. Yet they will still put their energy, time, and money into government, put their faith in government for whatever reason. And they think that voting for someone is going to help save them. So I'm interested in knowing why. Knowing the corruption is what it is. Black Spring Autumn is in the building. Salute to the Queen, Black Spring Autumn. Yes. So I think later, if I have time, I will be asking people to hop onto the live and tell me. Let's have a conversation. Right? Because I want to know. Right? So, and because I think once people start to really think about it, right? When you force people or when you encourage people to really think about why they support something as corrupt as government, right? Why they believe that voting for an individual or a group of individuals is going to change that, you know, they can really start to understand how, you know, how much it doesn't make sense. Uh, John Schmidt says the scariest thing you will ever hear is the government saying we're here to help. Yes. Yeah, that's what Ronald Reagan said, right? And Ronald Reagan was the president, or was he the president? I think he was running. I think he was campaigning to become president. Ronald Reagan said that. Black Spring Autumn dropped the link to my book in the chat. Salute to the beautiful Black Spring Autumn. Thank you for that. But yes, um, Ronald Reagan said himself, the 9 scariest words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. While he was running or was in office or while he was running for a position within government. Can you guys make that make sense? Then why are you running for government office if you know that the 9 scariest words in the English language are I'm from the government, I'm from here and I'm here to help? Can you help me understand that? What does that tell you about Ronald Reagan? What does that tell you? Man, what does that tell you about Ronald Reagan or anyone that runs for office? He was one. Yeah. Samuel Stanley wants a shout out. Why don't I understand? Why don't I understand why someone who knows the government is corrupt would run for office within government? I don't know, man. I don't know the answer to that question because I'm not one of those individuals. Why would someone, and this is not just for Ronald Reagan or people in office, it's this question is for people like you guys. Why, when you know the government is corrupt, why would you go out and vote? Why would you go out and vote within a system that you know is corrupt? Why would you do that? We should ask Trump, the one of the biggest losers in the world, along with Benjamin Nosferatu. Well, yeah, I mean, Mr. Hawaii Glass says illusion of control. Yeah, that might be the thing. That might be that might be a circumstance, right? You think that if you vote, you think you if you vote, you have some level of control of what happens within government. That is quite an illusion. You're right. You have no control. Please hit the like button, y'all. Double tap that screen. Come on, guys. Let's hit that like button. Y'all dropping some hearts up in here. I appreciate that. Propose then, what's the magic bullet? There is no magic bullet. See, that's the problem, right? If we want to take control back of our lives as individuals, if we want individual sovereignty, right? If we want to obtain individualism, salute to Keith Jenkins. Salute to you. Good morning. Right? Good morning. If you want individual freedom and sovereignty, there is no magic bullet. There is no magic bullet. There is no magical, mystical wand that you can wave that will give you your freedom back. And you know what voting is? That ballot that you drop in that ballot box, that's the magic wand. Or that's what you guys believe are the magic wand. You know what? If we have a corrupt politician Let's just primary him if he's a congressperson. Yeah, we got to vote him out of office. You guys got to hit the ballot box. Hit the ballot box? Boy, oh boy. There is no magical man. There is no savior. Okay? There is no Messiah. There is no Robin Hood or revolutionary, singular, that is going to do this. Most of those types of individuals, they die. They die very young, or they're politically imprisoned, right? And then what happens? Everybody puts their faith into that one individual, and when that person dies or perishes, or they betray the cause, everybody flounders. Oh, what do we do now? Well, I guess we just have to wait for the next one. And those individuals that died pushing the message of freedom to you guys, they're like, what the fuck? Really? This is what I die for? I die so y'all can just fall back into the bullshit? So you guys can just fall back under control and go back to sleep? You just docked your location. Okay. I don't see where I was trying to hide my location. What does that mean? What is anybody going to do about it? I doxed my location. Tell me where I am then. Cipher. The ballot box is mob rule. The ballot box is there to help them understand if we still consent. Simple as that. I get very disappointed when I see people, very intelligent people that I know understand how government corruption is, that, you know, there are two wings of the same bird, although those wings present differently. Those wings, the left wing and the right wing, they do different shit, right? So you guys think there's actually a split down the middle. There is no split, right? There is no split. And now, all this is led up to is what we have today. Because people thought, oh, well, Donald Trump, he says what's on his mind. He speaks. He speaks what's on his mind. Y'all thought he was funny. Y'all thought he was telling the truth. He came in and he came to disrupt the power structure. He came to drain the swamp. Y'all believed it. He came in his first term. Y'all thought he did some good shit. But when it came down to really making the correct decisions, when it came down to in the moments where he needed to step up as a leader, he didn't do it. COVID-19 came and he put us further into debt. He allowed, you know, the shutdowns and all these different things that happened. He put us further into debt. He initiated Operation Warp Speed, which brought us the COVID-19 vaccine within 9 months, and now is linked to fast-acting cancers. Proven by these things are real. That vaccine, yeah, the vaccine that he brought about, that he funded the research for and the development of with our money. Guess what happened? They are linked to cancers. Yeah. Every time you turn around, somebody's dying from a fast-acting cancer. 1 minute, they ain't got no cancer. Within 2 months, they're stage 4. And then within 2 months of that, they're fucking dead. And guess what that links to? It's linked to the vaccine. Now, that is one way Donald Trump was a fucking loser. Fast forward to today. with this Iran conflict, the war that you guys don't want to call a war, because then that would make Donald Trump a war criminal. That would make him a criminal who violated the Constitution to initiate a war without congressional authorization. Okay? Y'all want to call it a war. I don't care. He lost. Whatever he was trying to do in Iran, he lost. What we were trying to do at the behest of Benjamin Nosferatu and Israel Heliante, yeah, we lost. Failed miserably, right? Israel lost, but they realized they lost and they stopped fucking with Iran days and days before the US had to come to the negotiating table, had to present some type of ceasefire proposal. They, hey, Israel said, you know what? we we're not wasting any more time in Iran. We're just gonna bomb the shit out of Lebanon. Right? That's what happened. Now we're having peace talks with Iran, who was supposed to open up the Strait of Hormuz. But y'all know what happened there, right? Israel kept bombing Lebanon. Iran said Lebanon is off the table. Lebanon is not to be attacked if you want to open that Strait of Hormuz back up. Israel said, you know what? Oh, it's not a part of the deal. So did Donald Trump try to tell you all that shit too. But we know the truth. The biggest fucking losers always getting caught in the biggest of lies and the smallest of lies. Right? Always. They're the biggest fucking losers in the world right now. Yes, they are both liars. Yeah. Our military might, well, is not as mighty as we thought it was. That's what also makes us a loser. The fact that we couldn't bomb these savages in Iran back to the Stone Age, because that's what we promised. We'll bomb them back to the Stone Age. It'll be a big, beautiful display. All that bullshit that he told y'all, that y'all still believe. All the posturing, all the lies, all the bloviating. Well, guess what? Instead of us bombing them back to the Stone Age, Iran bombed our military bases back to the Stone Age over in the Middle East, right? Across Oman, Saudi Arabia, right? The UAE, Qatar, Bahrain. Can't use those bases anymore. They destroyed military ports, airfields. Can't use them. Drove our military members into civilian hotels because we no longer had the infrastructure on our own bases to operate. Right? Now, the death toll in Iran is larger, right? Because we have decided to indiscriminately bomb civilians and military installations. Right? But like I told you guys earlier, I told you guys weeks ago, victory will not come because we killed more people or destroyed more property. No, that's not how this works. It's not how it works. We ostensibly killed more Iranians than they killed us, but that doesn't mean that we're winning. Doesn't mean that we're winning. Life goes faster than you think, someone says. Not than I think. You don't want Sharia law. I've seen Sharia law. Where are you being threatened with Sharia law? What does that have to do with the United States? Are we under threat of falling under Sharia law? What are we talking about? Someone says, I like him, what's his name? If you're talking about me, I'm Snapzilla Gorilla. That's what I go by. Yes, war is a racket, absolutely. We're not under threat of Sharia law. We're not under any threat from Iran, period. We are not, what? Let me tell y'all about the Diego Garcia attack. I don't know if you guys remember that. Diego Garcia is a military base that is, it's a UK military base, a Britain military base that they say Iran struck, right? And that's one reason they say, well, Iran is a great threat to other nations because they were able to get ballistic missiles to Diego Garcia, right? Now, Diego Garcia is many thousands of kilometers away from Iran, right? Now, Iran came out and denied the attack. Denied the attack. So, when it comes down to who we should believe, Iran said they didn't attack Diego Garcia. Israel is saying that Iran attacked Diego Garcia. Just like they say that Iran attacked an oil field in Saudi Arabia at the very beginning, which Iran denied also. Now, who do you want to believe? You want to believe the government that constantly lies to you, or a government from a nation that has no reason to lie? My brother, I am sure Will, is in the building. Salute to you, brother. Salute to my brother, I am sure Will. Another brilliant political mind. My brother, I am sure Will. Make sure you drop your link. YouTube Black Spring. Israel is more of a threat to the U.S. than Iran or Sharia law. Facts. We're not under threat of Sharia law. Where you see Sharia law at? What? But that's not why we were over there, right? I thought it was because we didn't want Iran to be nuclear capable, right? Which, first of all, if Iran wants nuclear capabilities, nuclear, not nuclear capabilities, so be it. Why shouldn't Iran be able to have enriched uranium? Why not? That's number one. So that does not justify attacking Iran because they want nuclear capabilities. How is that? You should not be threatened by another nation that has no control over your nation because you have something that they also have. The United States is nuclear capable. We have nuclear weapons. We have thousands of nuclear warheads. Russia has thousands. China has thousands. Israel has thousands. Well, I don't know how much Israel has because they don't really want people to know that they have nuclear weapons, but they do want people to know. But they wanted to call it a secret, but they're putting it out there that they secretly have nuclear weapons. And, you know, they have this Samson protocol, right? They want you to know. They want you to know they have nuclear weapons, but they want you to believe that it's a secret to them. Someone says, telly player says, what a moron. Listen, telly player, you don't have to tell us that you're a moron, okay? You don't have to do that. You understand? You don't listen. You don't have to do that to yourself, brother. You know what I mean? It's okay. Oh, love peace sends me a gift. Salute to you. Someone says absolute moron. Yet some another idiot coming in here. You don't have to tell us you're a moron. Listen, y'all don't have to come in here and tell us about yourselves like that. You understand? Right? Lola Quantum official says, shh, be quiet. You're giving up the secret. Right. I knew what you meant. Yeah. I mean, listen, Israel has nuclear weapons. So why shouldn't Iran have nuclear weapons? Right? Here comes another one. Yeah. Why aren't we attacking China and Russia? Why haven't we launched strikes against China and Russia? Why haven't we tried to force inspections on those countries? You know, why haven't like? Come on, man. Listen, it's wildest shit ever. Am I in a militia? No, I'm not in a militia. Yes, North Korea has nuclear weapons, but we're not launching strikes against them. As a matter of fact, we're still at war with North Korea. Technically, we're still at war. Technically, we're in armistice times with North Korea, which just basically means it's a long-standing ceasefire, right? So we're still at war with North Korea. North Korea, a country we're at war with. We're at war with North Korea right now. And we have allowed them to develop nuclear weapons and build up their military arsenal, starve their people. Do y'all know what goes on in North Korea? They put all their money in the military, right? If you look at Korea from space, North Korea, you'll see, you know how you see the city lights and all that in different countries or in different cities? You'll see city lights all over the place because like a country like the United States or even South Korea has power, has electricity for everyone. Well, North Korea, you won't see that those widespread lights. You'll see most of the lights coming from their military installations. We have allowed North Korea to build a powerful military armada, and we have allowed North Korea to become nuclear capable, and we're still at war with North Korea. Someone said the magic words, Brody love, mutually assured destruction. Absolutely. Why shouldn't Iran have, why shouldn't they be a part of MAD? Why shouldn't they be, right? Why shouldn't they be allowed to deter enemy invasion and enemy strikes? Why shouldn't they be able to deter that by being nuclear capable? What makes us better than Iran that we get to dictate what they can and can't have? But nonetheless, despite 42 days of just straight bombing, which, that's not really a good strategy, right? You don't just bomb just to bomb. Let's just bomb this country, just bomb them to oblivion. What does that accomplish? You're supposed to build a strategy. You bomb strategic locations, strategic military locations, military infrastructure to cripple their military, right? Then you send in a ground invasion to take over. But blowing shit up just to blow shit up, blowing up civilian infrastructure, destroying civilian buildings, blowing up schools, killing civilians left and right, that is not a good military strategy at all, right? If you really want it, and then it became about freeing the Iranian people. It was about, oh, well, Iran is slaughtering their people. They're killing them by the tens of thousands, right? Because they told y'all that Iran killed like 30 or 40 or 50,000 Iranian civilians because of the uprising, right? The uprising caused by the United States and Israel, by the way, caused by IDF agent provocateurs who went into Iran, armed these people. First you put these sanctions. This is what they do. And even with that strategy, they're still fucking losers. They threw everything they could at Iran and still fucking lost. They went into Iran to cause an uprising based on a crippling economy that was caused by U.S. sanctions against Iran. Yeah, they went in there, they bombed these groups. They armed these people, convinced them to start trying to kill and take out police officers, destroying police buildings, disrupting emergency services. They convinced the people, and the true numbers is about 3,000, right? Iran killed 3,000 armed people that were trying to, you know, they were attacking the government. Listen, I'm not going to say that not should not be done, because you guys know, if you know me, you know my philosophy, you know how I roll. But that is not how you do it, right? Convos with Cam. Salute to the beautiful Convos with Cam. Salute to the beautiful Queen Sister Cameron in the building. She says she's driving and listening on your way to work. Salute to you. Thank you. So, the IDF went over there, agent provocateuring, and convinced them to attack their own government. That's not how you do it, right? At a protest, marching, clumping yourself up, going to these protests, right? Being and allow yourself to get surrounded, right? Allow yourself to get surrounded by your military, your government's military and police force, and then start attacking them. Yeah, Israel set their asses up. So they wanted to use that as an excuse, as a reason to attack Iran. Didn't work. Nothing they have done has worked. They have fucking lost. Were you in? Was I in the U.S. military? Yes, I was. Think about it. Think about it. What do you get being 20 years in Afghanistan? Not a motherfucking thing. Hundreds of billions of dollars. into the trillions of dollars over 20 years, down the drain. A U.S. military airfield that took about $100 billion to build, lost $80 billion in military equipment, lost, and the Taliban runs Afghanistan again. What was it? What was it? See, we create these terrorist groups to disrupt these Islamic countries. We created Al Qaeda, right? We created Al Qaeda. We did that. We funded them. We created them. We armed them. And for Syria, you know what I'm saying? The Taliban, we armed them when Russia invaded. We gave them military equipment and training to ward off Russia, which on its face was the right thing to do, on its face. But we know our government, our government's leaders don't do shit for these countries for free. Yeah, yeah. Lithium, poppy for your opioid crisis. Yeah, that's what we needed Afghanistan for. Poppy and lithium, my friends. And what came of that? An opioid crisis and some fucking batteries. Okay, congratulations. Oh, congratulations, we have batteries now. Okay. Y'all don't want to hear the truth. Y'all want to think we accomplished something in the Middle East? We never do. The idea is not to accomplish anything for the American people in the Middle East. No. The idea is to enrich the corporatists, the corporate welfare recipients, to enrich them. You know, the ones y'all call capitalists, but aren't capitalists. They're not capitalists. They're on welfare. They're on government. They're on the government tit. Mm-hmm. So what they tried to do in Iran, they couldn't even accomplish their underlying agenda. That's why they're the biggest losers. Mm-hmm. They couldn't accomplish it. They couldn't topple the Iranian government. They don't even know who fucking runs it. The Ayatollah's son, they're saying he's in serious condition. He might be on his way, he might be on his deathbed, or he might not be. How would you really know? How do you even know the original Ayatollah is dead? Did we see a body? Sure, they showed you his coffin. They showed you wrapped up in that linen, like Muslims are supposed to be, Islamic tradition, right? They showed him all wrapped up, nice and neat, in the middle of a town square where thousands of people were, mourning him. Sure, but how do we really know? And then they tell you that his son was injured. They're telling you he's in serious condition. These people don't know who's running shit in Iran. They don't know who's leading the country. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And now, why did we go to Pakistan, y'all? Yeah, J.D. Vance, Jared Kushner, and Witkoff. Why are we sending private motherfuckers? Why are we sending two private individuals to negotiate peace, to negotiate a ceasefire of a war? Why are we sending private or individuals to Pakistan along with the vice president? Why are they going to Pakistan to negotiate this peace? Because we're not in a position of strength. We got to go to them. We have to go to another Islamic nation, right? And we're sending private motherfuckers? Jared Kushner, the man who, the son-in-law of the president, who wants to turn Gaza into a fucking strip mall, A tourist attraction? That's who we're sending. Witkoff. Latressa Montgomery, salute to you. Yeah. Why not send Pete Hegseth? Why not send Marco Rubio? Biggest losers in the world. Think about that. What, what is Jared Kushner and Witkoff going to do? Yes, we are occupied by Israel. I'm glad more of us are seeing this. Yes, cap in hand. Does the winner go? Does the winner go? Why couldn't they come to Switzerland? Why couldn't Iranian emissaries come to the United States? we have to we have to send our vice president and two corporate stooges to Pakistan because we're in a position of the biggest loser. Yeah. And Israel, Benjamin Nosferatu authorized a ceasefire discussion with Lebanon, with Hezbollah. Sure, did they drive themselves into South Lebanon? Did they carpet bomb the shit out of South Lebanon under the auspices of attacking Hezbollah backed or Iranian backed Hezbollah forces? Yeah, that's what they're telling us. Really, what this is about is conquering more land. Yeah, they want to expand. Israel wants to expand. They've expanded into Syria. They've expanded, the Golan Heights. They've expanded into Gaza, Syria, all these other countries. They're carpet bombing and displacing millions of Lebanese people. But does that mean they want something because you're just leveling a bunch of civilian buildings? You want Lebanon? You want South Lebanon? Israel? You're destroying buildings and destroying infrastructure. What use of it? What use is that going to be to you? Let's say you have these ceasefire talks with Lebanon, and they say, okay, you can have South Lebanon. Sure. What you gonna do with it? You just land for the sake of having land. Now you have to rebuild. You got to rebuild, which is going to cost you billions of dollars. And for what? What strategic outcome did that? What was the strategic outcome of going into South Lebanon? If you can't take all of Lebanon and completely eradicate the Hezbollah forces, because that would actually do something, right? Well, if you have to just strafe the shit out of a civilian community, if you just carpet bomb, well, you're not accomplishing shit. You haven't crippled the Hezbollah forces. You haven't crippled Hezbollah. You haven't crippled the Houthis, right? No. What you have done is kicked a hornet's nest and made them a nuisance that's going to cost you a lot more than you accomplished by doing it. But see, they thought they could just, hey, we'll just bomb the shit out of them, bomb them into submission. That is not a strategy. That is not a that is not a competent military strategy to just fucking bomb the shit out of another country and hope that they give up. That's fucking stupid. You know what they did? Like, let's just look at Libya. Look at Libya. Now, what they did to Muammar Gaddafi, that was fucking smart. Now, what they did to Muammar Gaddafi, what they did to Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, that was fucking that was brilliant. Did they do it for the right? Hell no. Were those individuals the horrible, uh, genocidal, dictators that they painted? Hell no. No, 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 no. They were just in the way. There was no more stability in the Middle East than when Muammar Gaddafi, Osama bin Laden, and especially Saddam Hussein was in their positions. It was stable. They were minding their own fucking business under their Sharia law that they have been living under for thousands of years. Thousands of years. Mm-hmm. What was it? They're Muslims. Yeah. They have been living like that for thousands of years. It's not up to the United States. It's not up to us to say, oh, well, I don't like the way, I don't like that theocracy over there. They're oppressing their own people. We need to go over there and bomb the shit out of them. So let me get this straight. To free a people of their oppressive government, you have to bomb the shit out of the people, right? That's how you free them. You free them by ending their fucking lives, right? Destabilizing their country, starving them to death, driving them into famine. That's how you free the individual. That's how you free them. That's how you free them. Salute to Orange Lily Field. Salute to the Queen. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. Think about that. An Arab Christian child could have told us that this 35 years ago about Israel because it's fucking real. And even Jews. Do you think Benjamin Nosferatu is doing this for the Jews? No, no. Benjamin Nosferatu is not doing this for the Jews. He's doing it for his elite masters, y'all. He's doing it for his elite masters. And then what does he convince? He convinces his citizens to go and settle. Oh, go settle here. Go settle there. Yeah, go out, spread yourself out. Yeah, we give you permission. We give you permission to invade another people's land, drive them out of their homes, and beat them and kill them and terrorize them if they don't give up their houses to you. If they don't give up their land. You think he's doing it for them though? These Israeli settlers that are killing and murdering Palestinians in Gaza? You think that Benjamin Nosferatu is having them do that because he loves them? No. He's driving them into psychopathy. See, he is encouraging his people to be sociopaths and psychopaths and treat Palestinians like they're less than human. They don't even see them as human. He convinces them to go into Gaza and oppress other individuals, oppress Palestinian people. He's using civilians to do this. Civilian Israelis. Yeah. That's that's what, and they're to this day, they're killing Palestinians to this day. Yeah. But for the most part, is settlers, Israeli settlers doing the killing. So you can't really blame the IDF, can you? No, the IDF just stands there and watches. Do you think Benjamin Nosferatu is allowing that to happen because he loves his people? No, he's using them as tools, as pawns. He's using his own people as pawns because retribution will come. Retribution will come. It'll come to those settlers. it'll come to Benjamin Nosferatu himself. Oh yeah. But see, Israel, Benjamin Nosferatu, is a loser. Why? Well, if he's doing so great in Lebanon, if he's beating the shit out of Hezbollah forces, he would not be calling for a ceasefire. He would not tell his people, all right, go ahead. Is that that's not even in his nature, is it? Is it in Benjamin Nosferatu's nature to call for ceasefires without the U.S. forcing him to come to the table? Why did he stop attacking Iran? Why did IDF stop attacking Iran? It's just the U.S., y'all. It's just the U.S. But the news will tell you, they'll tell you, oh well, it was Israel. But then it'll say, if they say U.S. Israel attack, if they say a U.S. hyphen Israel attack, it was just the U.S. on behalf of Israel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They say, nah, man, we ain't wasting no more resources attacking Iran. We're going to focus on Lebanon. We're going to, Iran is distracted by the U.S. You know what I mean? We can focus on Lebanon. We can encroach upon Lebanon more and more while the U.S. distracts Iran. Shit didn't work either. So now he has to come to the table. And the Strait of Hormuz is still fucking closed. Yes, Israel didn't stop when the ceasefire started. They were still attacking Lebanon. See, what happened is, you're talking about a drone attack. There was a drone attack after the ceasefire. Shortly after the ceasefire, there was a drone attack. They told you it was an Israel drone attack. I disagree, because they said Israel did it, but then they mentioned it was an Israel-U.S. Effort. Well, if they say it's a U.S. Israel effort, that means it was just the U.S. So, yes, orange lily for you, exactly. Lebanon was part of the ceasefire, and they're trying to act like, no, that's a separate thing. No, that's why the Strait of Hormuz is closed. That's why it's closed. Iran is not attacking, but they're not opening the Strait of Hormuz either. And again, we had to send our vice president and two corporate fucking stooges to Pakistan to negotiate. We had to go to them. Sure, it's Pakistan. They didn't have to go to Iran, but they had to go to a Muslim-based country that is more aligned with Iran than it is with the U.S. Yes, Trump backed down, but he'll never present it as he backed down. No, because Pete Hegseth has talked about we had a great victory and all this bullshit. If we had a great victory, we would have control of the Strait of Hormuz. If we were victorious, we would have control of the Strait of Hormuz at the very least. Control, not allowing it to be open, not convincing Iran to let ships pass through. No, we would have complete and utter control of their oil fields. We would have control of the Strait of Hormuz and the entire Gulf of Persia. Salute to Miss Sunshine in the building. I saw you sniping back there. Salute to the beautiful Miss Sunshine. Thief Smeg Smith is a liar. Absolutely. That is not the main plan. Okay, what is the main plan about Eritrea? What's the main plan? The main plan was to destroy their to prevent their nuclear proliferation, right? Prevent nuclear proliferation in Iran. Have them stopping the storing and collection and use of enriched uranium, right? That hasn't stopped. Part of the part of what Iran wants, Iran is demanding that you leave them the fuck alone about their nuclear capabilities. They will not give up their no. Why would they do it now? Why would they stop? Why would they stop? Why would they end their nuclear program now? Why would they do it now? After we attack them like that? Why would they do it? Why would Iran give up their nuclear capabilities right now? Why would they stop? We have not given a reason for them to stop. We're not in a position to make them stop. Then it became about, oh, we have to free the Iranian people. They didn't ask for that. You know, despite what they tell you. Oh, the Iranians, they're celebrating. No, they're not. This fool came out and told y'all, this fool Donald Trump told y'all that the Iranians are begging and asking for the US to come back and bomb them. That's what Donald Trump told y'all. What? And plum ass idiots like Brandon Kundum, Stephen Gardner, and all these asshats, they believe this bullshit. And they're trying to convince you that this is the truth. Why would Iranians ask for us to come back, to come and bomb the shit out of them? Oh, yeah, please come back and bomb us. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, right? And then the next day, he tells you that he's going to end their entire civilization if they don't open the Strait of Hormuz. Gave them a 48-hour window. Said he was going to destroy the entire civilization of Iran. How is that helping the people of Iran? How is that? And what did he end up doing? Not a motherfucking thing. Loser. 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 Anthony Doherty says it's sad. I honestly believed it for a while because my dad had me blind my entire life until I woke up and started thinking for myself. That's all you have to do. Uh, about Eritrea says USA people knows the truth because of social media. Are you trying? I don't know what you're trying to say about Eritrea, but I think I get what you're saying. Orange Lily for you says, if Trump was such a great negotiator, why couldn't he negotiate lesser oil prices like China did? Well, because he's not a great negotiator. Because Donald Trump had their country bombed. And we shouldn't have to ask Iran for lower gas prices. The oil prices for that shouldn't, you know, we don't get our oil from the Gulf of from the Persian Gulf. We don't get our oil from the Strait of Hormuz. We don't need it, right? Now, the 20% of the world's oil comes through there, but that doesn't come to us. The reason the gas prices are going up is artificial. Yeah, because there's a war. So, they have convinced us, well, if we're at war, gas prices have to go up. No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't have to. especially if we're not getting or oil from that region that we're in conflict with. We don't need it from there. Not the oil, right? Oil, other petrochemicals for the fertilizer. Now, see, this is where, see, everybody, not everyone, but statists, the people that believe in government, they have convinced you guys that the government is so great that you need them. Why is a third of the world's fertilizer affected by this war? Now, of course, we're going to use more fuel. We're going to use more petrol-based chemicals for the war. Of course. Should there be some hike in prices? There may be, but not 60 fucking percent. There should not be a 60% hike in gas prices. Not for this. Not when we get our oil. We don't get our oil from the Persian Gulf. Not through the Persian Gulf. Not through the Strait of Hormuz. Hell, aren't we stealing oil from Venezuela? That's why we did this, right? We had to secure more oil because, they knew we're going to have to attack Iran. And don't think they're not selling oil to other countries that typically get their oil from those Gulf countries. We're selling oil to other countries. Don't worry about that. Russia is too. Now, see, that's another thing where we fucked up. Yeah, we lost there too. Now Russia is selling oil because they have oil, and European nations are getting their oil from Russia. Yeah, they're buying oil from Russia, right? So we're not selling oil to Europe, right? We thought we were going to corner the market. Nope. Russia took a big chunk of that market. Yet another miscalculation by the powers that be that pulled the strings of our puppet government. Yeah. So it's not just Donald Trump and Benjamin Nosferatu that are the big losers. It's their corporate masters. It's the NGOs. They lost as well, right? Kelly Marie Appleby, salute to you. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. She says the biggest issue that we face is that both the Republicans and Democrats bend the knee to Israel. Be mindful of who you vote for always. Kelly Marie, ooh-wee, you right on point. I'll take it a step further. You say be careful, be mindful of who you vote for. I say stop fucking voting. That's what I say. I typically don't tell people not vote. I just say I don't, and I give my reasons as to why I don't vote. I'm at the point now, I tell you, stop fucking voting. We don't have control over voting anymore. Well, you never did, right? You never had control over. Listen, let me tell y'all something. You know what? I think Amsel Rothschild says this. One of them motherfucking big bankers back in the day. I think it was Amsel Rothschild or one of those people. Hell, I'll go back to the 80s. Alan Greenspan. Alan Greenspan, who was the head of the Department of Treasury or the Federal Reserve, one and the same. It is just the Department of Treasury is just a fucking branch of the Federal Reserve that operates within the government, right? He said he don't care who the president is, as long as they don't fuck with us. Leave us the fuck alone. Yeah, Alan Greenspan. He said, if they don't fuck with the Federal Reserve, I don't care who the president is. I think it was Amsel Rothschild who said, every vote is a vote for us. And he was talking about the bankers, the elite class bankers, the corporatists, right? The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies. Those people, that's who ran That's who runs shit. That's who runs shit. So when you vote, you're not voting for one party or the other to control anything. What happens when you vote is you're letting them know that you still believe in the system that oppresses you, that you still are convinced that the system works for you. Because you think when you vote, you have to believe this. If you're a voter, you believe this. You believe that your vote is going to make positive change for you through the government. You think that. You believe, well, if we just vote for the right person, if we vote for the right measure, well, we're going to turn things around for the better for us. That's what you believe. Miss Sunshine, you got a happy trigger figure today. No, don't, Miss Sunshine, don't, don't, Miss Sunshine, don't, don't snipe Frank. Don't do that. Someone says I sound stupid. That's okay. Tell me what sounds smart. Yes, Smash. He says fuck Israel. I agree. And when I say that, I'm talking about the government corporate rulers. J.P. Morgan owned Titanic, was supposed to be on it, but last second didn't get on, and Jacob Astor died along with the only other opposition to the federal. Exactly. Yes. Yes, that's what they were. You're absolutely right. Yeah, and J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, all these bankers, the big banks, yeah, they run shit. And now they have expanded. The elite class has expanded to big oil, right? The military industrial complex, big pharma, you know, these and the insurance companies, they all work together to get what they want done by your government. Anthony Doherty says I'm mad now, and I haven't had my coffee. I haven't had my coffee either. Don't worry. I haven't had my coffee. I got over 2 miles, y'all. Over 2 miles done. Orange Lily Fee says Republican votes religiously. If no one pushes back, they win again. I feel like I've been. Well, that's why I say Orange Lily, stop fucking voting. I mean, it's simple. When you don't vote and shit goes wrong, there's something about it because I've never voted, and I was in the military. I never voted. Never, never. I never voted as an adult. And there's something about being able to say, I did not vote for this bullshit. No matter who does the bullshit. My brother, I am True Will, is in the building. Salute to you. Drops a $10 super chat on your boy. I appreciate you, my brother. Thank you so much. Man, I appreciate the support. When I say, and salute to I am True Will, because he talked about this too. You know, I often talk about big money interests running the country. He was talking about that the other day. Make sure you drop your link, I am True Will. And Black Spring with Autumn, also a very intelligent sister. And Miss Sunshine, salute to you. She says, "Grr, she's mad. She mad at me because I told her to stop sniping people." I'm not saying Miss Sunshine can't take out the spammers and the trollers she knows the protocol. If you call me stupid, if you say I'm doing some stupid shit, if you say I'm lying, you have one opportunity to tell me what I'm lying about, what's smart. Tell me the smart thing. If I'm saying the stupid thing, you obviously know what the smart thing is. If you can't do that, then yeah, Sunshine is going to snipe your ass. So is Marcy T. Prairie Warrior. Not because you call me stupid, because you're not willing to back up what you're saying with a real argument. And that's annoying as fuck. You can call me stupid all day and night. I want you to tell me why I'm stupid. Tell me. Someone says vote. I mean, hey, if you want to vote, you go ahead and do that. But for the first time in my life, I'm going to tell people not to vote because I'm at that point where I feel like people are more receptive to it. You know, when take for instance my brother I am Trill Will. I am Trill Will started rocking out with his and salute to the mighty LDBC, by the way, of which I'm a member of. Salute to the mighty LDBC. I keep forgetting to shout my people out. The Lion Den broadcasting community. Or if they're talking about boxing, the Lions Den boxing community. Salute to all my LDBC people out there. But anyway, you want dual citizenship somewhere? Well, Orange Lily for you, wherever you go, it's going to be government rule, right? So just be careful where you have your dual citizenship. Sunshine says, the beautiful Miss Sunshine, she says, grrr, voting means absolutely nothing. It's all scripted. Y'all are naive cattle. Yeah. So here's the thing about voting, y'all. So like I said, I am sure will, you know, uh, I was drawn to him because he's very smart, does his research, shows his research, all that good shit. Can't really fuck with him if you don't have something going on up here. You ain't fucking with I am True Will. But me and him had a disagreement. Did I call him stupid? Did he call me stupid? No. What did I do? I articulated my disagreement. He articulated his disagreement. Bada boom, bada bing, and we're from there. There was no disrespect, no need for it. We had a conversation. Right now, it was in the chat, but you know. And then I don't know if you remember, Trill. I went and did a live stream to continue the conversation, and he came through and said, "I'm listening, brother." He said, "I'm listening. Let me get educated." That's what Trill said. There was no need to fling insults back and forth. So now we are brothers, right? You know, the bottom line is we can have these conversations. We can have these conversations. We don't have to agree on everything. But guess what? Me and Trill are aligned. We're aligned. He understands. He said, what did he say? A few weeks ago, or maybe even a couple months ago, he said, you have convinced me to be an anarchist. Because the more you pull back, right? The more you pull back and you see what's really going on. Follow the money. See where the money goes. Orange Lily for you says I'm voting Democrat. Orange Lily for you. Why are you being difficult? Why are you being difficult? Hmm? Come on now, woman. Why are you being difficult? Marcy T. Prayer Warrior is in the building. Suit to the beautiful Marcy T. Prayer Warrior. She says if voting mattered, I'd be the first 12. But it doesn't. Well, it matters, but just not in the way y'all think it matters. Orange Lily for you about to have me. Girl, if you don't knock it off, don't listen. She messing with me. So I'm at 2.5 miles now. I can turn back. Worrying about voting when the alien event is coming. Also, the asteroid. Right. Okay. If you're voting, make sure you're voting APAC out. How do you vote APAC out, though? You can't. You can't vote APAC out. You can't do it because they don't need a vote. All they need is their money. Salute to Alex Shulev Rostov. Salute to you. He says, you sound great. Russian people and Putin, the man God loves, have no masters, God, Jesus only. You good, brother. Salute to you. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for dropping that super chat. I appreciate you so much. the beautiful Marsha T, my sister, my indigenous sister from another mister. Oh, 1-2 vote. So think about this, y'all. Voting matters, but not in the way y'all think it does. Not in the way y'all think. Y'all think it matters to help you gain some level of control over your life, over who runs the country, right? Y'all think it matters in terms of who runs the country, who they run it for, and who they represent. Or if you vote for a measure or a bill in your town or in your city or in your state, you think you're voting for a measure that will help you. It doesn't matter in the way y'all think it matters. It matters to show them that you still believe in the system. Voting matters more to them than it does to you because it tells them that you still believe in the system, that you're still willing to submit. You're still willing to consent to be governed, no matter what they do. Because you think voting in the opposite direction of the fucked up shit that has been going on is going to bring about some type of positive change. Okay, so because they make it easy. Well, Donald Trump came in, he fucked the pooch in a lot of different ways. He fucked the pooch for his MAGA base. He fucked it for Republicans. So now they're gonna vote opposite of of Donald Trump. But it's still a vote for them, right? They're gonna present you with somebody that's gonna maybe hell, a Joe Kent, maybe. They're gonna present you a Joe Kent, a JD Vance, who's been very outspoken against war, right? He's gonna negotiate the peace talks if he succeeds. Look, JD Vance, he's the peace warrior. He ended the war. Look at him. And then when he runs, y'all are gonna flock to JD Vance. Y'all are gonna believe in JD Vance so hard. Tucker Carlson, who I don't believe would ever run for president. See, Tucker Carlson knows what's up. Tucker Carlson will never run for president. Tell y'all that right now. Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, don't expect them if they about that life. Guess Jasmine Crockett will never run for president. Never will. These people, if they're about that life, they're not going to run for president because they know they've seen shit. They have been behind the curtain. They know what's going on. Why not? Because they know that it's fucking worthless. If they're real, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, they'll never, they'll, they'll never, and if they run, they won't get any traction. They won't. They won't. They won't. They won't. Charlie Kirk would never, would never. They killed his ass because if you go against, if you go against the corporate machine, the elite machine, and you are trying to run for president, there are a number of things that can happen. You could be about that life and believe in the system, and you do want to make positive change for the people, right? But you believe in the system at the same time. You think that you can make positive change from within government. You think that you can infiltrate an oppressive government and make the government not oppressive? If you believe that, okay, let's say they let you in. All right. But guess what? This whole time, you have been taking money from APAC. You've been taking money from George Soros. You've been taking money from all these donors that have convinced you, right? You might not even know it. Your campaign managers, they might be taking this money. You have to campaign. You're busy. You're trying to win hearts and minds. You're kissing babies and all that type of shit. You taking money from these PACs. You're taking money from these corporations. You're doing that. They, you know what I'm saying? Because they have manipulated you. They manipulated you. So you get in there and you have to get with the program. What's the program? The program is to continue to act on the behalf of the corporate masters, right? You see them. They send lobbyists. They send lobbyists to you. They send their cronies to you, right? They will and deal. They shake and bake. Hell, you might have an Elon Musk in your ear. An Elon Musk, a Mark Zuckerberg, all these cats. Yeah, they in your ear all day. They've convinced you that they're for the people. Well, when you find out that you really have no power and you start to speak out and you start to try to expose the real, how long do you think you're going to survive? If you push and push and resist and resist, you get in there, you try to go against them. Oh yeah, they taking your ass out. Oh, I ain't sure will. I know, man. She be on it. Yeah, yeah. Sunshine is a soldier, straight up and down. Yeah, she out here getting them. Yeah, she don't play. She be up in there. Salute to the UK. Salute to Gibraltar. Salute to you. What do you mean by APAC? I don't know what I mean by APAC. What do you what do you think I mean? What? Marcy T. Prayer Warrior says, my problem is with liars and disinformation agents. Yeah, they are a big problem. Y'all, here's the thing, man. Trump might have been one of those people. He wasn't. He was always bought out. He got bailed out by the Rothschilds, okay? He got bailed out by Rothschilds Inc. And Wilbur Ross handled his bailout, right? They helped him avoid bankruptcy. And they helped him avoid losing billions of dollars because of the failure that was Taj Mahal, okay? So Donald Trump was bought and paid for long ago. Well, they called their marker in, and he came in, and you know, he was supposed to make America great again. Yeah, that's what was supposed to happen. Yeah. Well, y'all saw what happened. Y'all see what's happening now. Anyway, Donald Trump was bought and paid for. So he wasn't one of them. Well, who might have been? Let's say Robert F. Kennedy. Robert Kennedy. Robert Kennedy might have been one. What'd they do? They peeled his motherfucking cap back. Yeah. They popped his ass. JFK popped his ass. When he started exposing the real, oh yeah, they murked him. Yeah. They peeled his motherfucking cap back. That's what happened. Mm-hmm. What happened to Charlie Kirk? He wasn't even old enough to run for president yet. Motherfucker was 32. He had 3 more years. 3 more years, 2028. He could have ran. But what happened? As soon as he started speaking out against Zionists, abandoning the Israel cause, yeah, they put a fucking hole in his neck. Yeah, they snapped his neck with a non-30-06 bullet. That's what they did. If you about that life, and you really about that life, and they see you, you have, you can move, you listen, you have a movement with your voice. You can create a movement with your voice. And there is a passion there that is unmistakable. They know, but if they can manipulate you, see, they don't want to always do that, right? What they'll do is they'll silence you in other ways. They'll take your voice away before it gets too big, right? That's what they do. Uh, Someone says bit thick. Congratulations. You know, COINTELPRO, exactly. I stated facts and you felt attacked by facts. That's what's up, Marshall T. Prayer Warrior. We are all being played. Someone says I'm a bit thick, but I'm out here getting it in with 80 pounds. It's okay. Be inspired. Be inspired to throw on a 20-pound pack and move. That's what you should be doing. Kelly Marie Appleby says, well, you fail to realize, Marcy, that if you got over yourself for a moment, we may agree much on more. Now, ladies, what's going on? We don't, come on now. Let's be civil. Yes, Orange League for you. Rug master indeed. Nine out of 10 of y'all can't do this. But I encourage you to start. This is one of the best exercises you can do, y'all. Rucking with a good amount of weight, up and down hills for a sustained period of time. Much better than jogging. Much better for your joints. You know, it's good cardio. Salute to Pete. He says, I got good points. Thank you, man. Ashley Toppy says, what do you think is happening on this ceasefire? Well, what's happening right now is that there's not really much going on. The ceasefire is not really being upheld, right? As Israel continues to attack Lebanon, you know, and Iran keeps the Strait of Hormuz closed. There might be attacks going on in Iran right now. You know, Iran might be attacking Arab nations in the Gulf that host the United States. You know, I haven't really seen much, but I do know there was supposed to be some negotiations yesterday in Pakistan. I don't know what came of that yet, but we'll see what happens next week. What I think the ceasefire shows is that we lost, right? We lost. We're the big, listen, we have shown the world, or Iran has shown the world, that we don't have the mightiest military on the planet, right? The the mirage that was the most powerful military has been shattered. It was shattered when our bases in the Middle East were destroyed. And we had no real recourse, right? Listen, it just showed the level of impotence without a large amount of casualties, right? They have destroyed many of our capabilities in the Middle East. So that's all they needed to do, right? Anyone have a solution? There's always solutions. There's always solutions. I told you guys, Turbo says somebody asking for a solution. There's a few. Educate yourself, get healthy, don't waste money on trivial stuff, and try to own as much as you can when you own something that is power. That is true, right? Yes. Educate yourself. But what do you buy? What do you own? Land. You need land. You need land. You need plenty of it. It needs to be sustainable land. It needs to have water. It needs to be fertile land. If you're like a plant eater like Orange Lily for you, you need to be able to grow your own food, raise your own food, hunt your own food, whatever you do, and be self-sustainable. And then you build a community of other, with other people of the like mind and has the same ambitions and the same desires. You build your own little communities, and then you tell the government to fuck off. Right? Now, if this happens on a large scale across the country, it can be great. It can be a great thing. It can be a great thing. But in the meantime, until it reaches out, until more and more people catch wind of what's going on, and more people get on the same fucking boat, the same wavelength. Until then, just be quiet. Just do your thing. Buy your land, get with some people, do your thing, make yourself just hey, until enough people come around to what really needs to happen, do your thing. Right? And you'll be ready. You'll be ready when everyone else that needs to be ready is ready. You'll already have everything set up. You just have to be, you have to be careful about, how you express what you're doing. You don't want to run around telling everybody, yeah, we're building our own community so that we can be free of the government. No, you just do it, right? You just do it. You buy the land. You don't need to explain why. Just say, hey, man, I've always wanted land. I've always wanted to have a bunch of land for my kids to run around and, you know, I wanted to raise my own animals and blah, 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 be out in nature. However you got to explain it. And just, keep it easy. Keep it, you know, you don't have to go around telling everybody what you got going on, what your plans are. Just do it. Just, just act the plan out. Right. And when it comes time for the rest of, not the rest of, because not everybody's going to wake up. When it comes time for enough people to wake up and everybody gets in sync and it's ready and we're prepared to cut the government off, because that's essentially what we'll have to do. We're going to have to cut the government off. Yeah. Because we cut their asses off, they won't be able to operate like they need to, right? You cut their asses off, they'll get desperate, but you need to be ready, and you will be ready. Because when you cut them off, they're going to try to cut you off. They're going to try to come take your shit. But enough people cut their ass off at the same time, they're not going to be able to go after everybody, right? Their resources will be too limited for that, of course. And, you got to get people on board. Maybe people that work for the government, you know, cats in the military, cats in law enforcement, you know, there are a number of things you have to do. You got to go under. Anthony Doherty says you got to go underground with that at first, though. Yeah, absolutely. Because, what they'll do is they'll turn it into another Ruby Ridge, or, they'll tell they, they'll tell everybody, oh, you're forming a cult and they need to take you out. That's how they do it. When you want to just mind your own goddamn business. When you want to buy land and live off the land, you buy, Oh man, they don't like that shit. When you just want to mind your own goddamn business, that's when they come for you. Miss, and then if they feel like you have too much influence and you're inspiring too many people, you're inspiring too many people to do the same thing. Oh, they don't like that shit. No, we shouldn't be living in fear. Absolutely not. Is it possible in the US? Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. You can buy land and develop it at your pace. You don't have to rush this shit, y'all. This shit doesn't happen overnight. It has to be strategic. This shit doesn't happen overnight. Now there are people out there that are going to have to speak out and encourage people to do these types of things. They're going to be the most at risk, right? Because they're too out there. Well, that's the sacrifice people like that make to help encourage others to obtain their freedom. You know, yes, grow where you are. You know, like Pastor Powell, who I don't know who that is. Dylan Loves Posh says we're nearly off grid and pretty much self sufficient, working on Archimedes screw ATM. Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, do what you got to do, man. It doesn't have to be perfect, fully established, and fully realized right away. You know, it doesn't have to, right? But what you need people with certain skill sets. You need a good mix of people. You need electricians, you need plumbers, you need doctors, nurses, lawyers. You're gonna need lawyers. You're gonna need lawyers, right? You got to fight off that eminent domain bullshit. You you got to get that eminent domain monkey off your back. Uh, you know, you have to all those type of things. Roofers, exactly. Carpenters, teachers, you know, educators, people that know how to speak well, orators, people that, they don't necessarily know how to work well with their hands. They're not fighters, but they know how to convey a message really well. Yeah, you need teachers. Absolutely. Yeah, you need teachers. Who's going to educate your children? Who's going to have the patience? Because, see, in a community like that, you ain't going to be sitting around. People, their work has to get done, right? Work has to get done. Her work has to get done by skilled adults. And yes, you will have children that are going to be attuned to working with their hands. They're going to want to learn how to build. They're going to be great at it, but they still need to be educated academically. You want them to know their history. You want them to know how to read. You want them to know math because everything in building involves math. Yeah. I went through an electrical apprenticeship for 5 years. I was an apprentice for 5 years before I became a journeyman. Did a lot of fucking math. A lot of math. I had to sit my ass down and learn academically. I worked on the job training where I applied the math I learned in the classroom. Same thing with carpenters, plumbers. You got to know math. Roofers, right? You have to know math. Teachers are very important. It's just, what are they teaching, right? What are the teachers teaching? What are they inspired by? You know, what's their motive for teaching, right? So you just got to teach the right things. Orange Lily for you says, teachers, nurses, gardeners, swimmers, all. She said, you ain't good at math? Well, that's okay. English, theater, art. Yeah, because that's that's how you build culture, right? The most ancient civilizations, the most savage, primitive civilizations had those things. They had an element of art, right? And that's how you build culture, right? that culture is built by, you know, the human's desire to understand each other. That's 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 what culture is about. How do we understand each other? Well, language, art, you know, it's that's just how it works. Uh, have y'all heard about primates now are making tools, right? Chimpanzees in the wild or whatever. I just read about this a little bit. I got to look into it more. But they're saying they're making tools now, like we did way back in the day, like humans did, the early humans, when they started to evolve, their brains got bigger. They started to become more intellectual. Yeah, we built tools. They're building tools now, from what I hear. I need to look into it a little more though. Australia says good day. Salute to you on Australia. Man, y'all really got it bad in Australia, boy. I tell you what. They ain't even hiding the fact that y'all ain't got no freedoms. They have convinced Australians that the government controls their freedoms and they'll take them away anytime they choose. Wild work. Yeah, look it up, Orange Leader for you. Yes, humans are a resourceful species. Your friend just moved there? I wouldn't be able to do it. Where is the safest country? Man, in the world? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. The safest? Well, as far as safety is concerned, I don't know. I don't probably some fucking some some country out in the Northlands or something. Maybe some Poland, not Poland. Maybe I don't know. Switzerland, maybe I don't know. The safest? That's relative. That's relative, right? That's relative. I think the safest, because the country is large, right? The country is large. You know, there are a lot of different communities in each country. I would say the safest community is the one where everybody's armed, where everyone is armed, right? Because an armed society is a polite society. I think there is the safest town in the country has the most armed people. I forgot. I think it's somewhere in like Utah or somewhere. Someone in Idaho somewhere. But the safest country might be Switzerland. I don't know. Might be. Overall, Marcy Perry says I've complimented you about 3 or 4 times now. Oh, you complimented me, Marcy T? You talking about me? Marcy T be having her conversations with the people. Orange Lily for you says I'm armed, but I have to get my license. And that's the sad part. You need a license. The fact that they want you to have a license to be armed to protect yourself is crazy work. You think Canada is hell no. You think Canada is the safest country? Nah, no. They Canada has fooled y'all. Canada has fooled y'all. Listen, the drug activity up there, the drug, the drug world. Oh yeah. Look up, look up Canada and their drug problem and their fucking the drug lords up there. Mongolia? I don't know. Brittany said, salute to you. I ain't seen you in a minute, Brittany. Brittany said is in the building. Salute to you. New Zealand? Maybe. Maybe. Peaceful safety. maybe. I don't know. You know, they're overly oppressed by their government as well. Well, see, you have to understand, New Zealand and Australia are essentially islands, right? They're extremely isolated. So it's hard. So they can take their guns from their people, right? They can strip them of their right to keep and bear arms, like they have done, you know. But they have gangs out there that are armed. They just don't be running around killing motherfuckers like that. That doesn't mean that just means that these gangs, the ones they call gangs, they're anti-government resistance fighters who, you know, don't want to be ruled by their government. And most of them are indigenous. Most of them are, I forgot what they call the natives in New Zealand. What do they call them? Help me understand it. Because remember when they had they had that so-called mass shooting out there, and almost 2 days later, they stripped people of their rights to keep and bear so-called assault weapons. And the gangs were outspoken and said, we're not giving up shit. We ain't giving up nothing. I forgot what they called them. Maori, is that what they call them? Damn, I forgot. Uh, I forgot. But y'all get what I'm saying. Salute to salute to Melissa. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that gift. I appreciate you. Maoris, is that what they call them? I thought they called them something else. Yeah. But the bottom line is this: this safety that the government offers you comes at the price of your freedoms. So that when the day comes for them to assert their full power and control, you won't be able to resist. And then you will no longer be the safest. You will be open slaves, right? Own nothing and be happy. Whew. That is that is the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is for you to own nothing and be happy and be willing slaves who lives in 15-minute cities, exposed to toxins in the food they give you that keep you subdued, that keep you stupid, that keeps you lazy. Yeah, that is the ultimate goal. That's not safe. That's not safety. Yes, hit the like button, y'all. I appreciate I got over 135 likes. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Brittany. Yes, like and subscribe. Salute to Dustin Malele, who drops me a gift. I appreciate you. Salute to you. Sent a clutch. What is that? Like a clutch purse? Yes, they want you docile and subservient. And then they'll convince you that that's safe. Oh, yeah, you don't have to leave your 15-minute city. Everything will be provided for you. You won't have to worry about money. You just got to be a good boy and girl, and you'll have your credits, the digital currency. They'll roll out the digital currency. They'll dictate what you can and can't have, right? They'll take your currency based on how good you are or bad you are. You're a bad little boy this week. We're taking credits. Yeah. This is what they want, man. Miss Sunshine says, we are competing with other countries. They clock IQ scores at 200 and above. They get their hands on people such as myself and use them to create destructive weapons. These are facts. These are facts. These are facts. Someone says TDS is real. Yeah. Yeah. Trump derangement syndrome is real amongst the people that worship him like he's a god and thinks he can do no wrong. That is where the derangement lies. Me recognizing that Donald Trump is a loser does not mean I have, that does not denote Trump derangement syndrome. He's a loser, just like Benjamin Nosferatu is a fucking loser. That's why he has to come to the table, right, with Lebanon, because he's not accomplishing what they set out to accomplish. Donald Trump is not accomplishing what he set out to accomplish for his elite masters. It's just not happening. It's not working out. So yeah, I got about a mile left. Let's see. Royalty says I played dumb for 20 years to stay off the radar. I wouldn't even dare make a video like this. I've been warned. Well, it is, see, it is what it is, man. Like, am I putting myself at a level of risk speaking to you guys the way I'm speaking to you? Maybe. Not at this moment. I don't have enough followers. Not followers. I don't have enough supporters. I don't know because I don't like that. Followers. No, no, no. I'll call you guys supporters. I'll call you guys like-minded fellow leaders, right? Um, but there is a level of risk that is involved with putting my face out here, saying the shit I'm saying. There's a level of risk to it. But, you know, with 12,000 subscribers, it's not really, I'm more of a nuisance, right? It's not really like they can shut down my YouTube channel and that would essentially, uh, I would be no longer, I wouldn't be any threat whatsoever, right? That's all I had to do is shut down my channel, right? No, I haven't, I'm not at the point right now, right? Where I'm any danger to them. No, not really. I reach the people I reach every time I do my live streams. And yeah, you know, I'm not at that level to be at that level of danger per se, especially not from the government. Maybe some random motherfucker who does actually have the Trump derangement syndrome and feels like he wants to confront me in public. That is about as dangerous as it gets for me right now. But no, they're not looking at me like, oh, Snapzilla Gorilla, he's the next mouse. Oh, he's dangerous. We need to take his ass out. No, I'm not. I'm not at that point. I'm not at that point. Yes, and more do need to get out there and speak up. Dustin, it doesn't work when just a few people put their lives on the line to speak this shit, right? It's not enough because they take they take you out. That's it, man. The movement stops. That is just historical fact. The movement stops because people, when individuals like, let's say, a Malcolm X or a John F. Kennedy, or hell, I'll even go as far as to say somebody like Charlie Kirk, right? You know, people rely too much on those singular individuals to push the movement, right? And it's simply because they don't encourage autonomy. They don't encourage autonomy. What? Because even though Malcolm X spoke out against this oppressive government, he was not anti-government. He was not pro autonomy. He was not pro self-sufficiency, pro individualism, right? Same thing with Martin Luther King. He wanted everybody to come together. See, he was against government oppression. He was against, segregation because he felt like black people were being treated unfairly by the government. He wanted the government to treat everybody the same way, but he still wanted government, right? Uh, Salute to Enrique Lozano. Salute to you. He drops a $5 super chat on you, boy. I appreciate you so much. He says, I respect your open knowledge and 100% agree everything you said about Trump and his fraudster allies. Yeah. That's all I try to do, man. I'm not trying to, it is what it is. Donald Trump, he is on the hook with his elite corporate masters. So, see, these people, they encourage, right? They sparked movements, but they did not spark individualism. They did not spark, they did not encourage people to stand up no matter what. Because I'm just one man. Y'all had to keep the movement going. All I'm doing is encouraging you to move, not to move when I say move or move because I'm moving. Move because it's what just something that you just need to do, right? What that's the bottom line. Now you could get there, and when they start to get to that point where it's like, oh, okay, oh well, maybe I've been pushing the wrong message with my powerful voice. I need to push a different message, right? Because what happened to these individuals that had these movements, that were allowed to have these movements because it worked for the government, it worked for the elite corporations because of the divisiveness of it, right? What happened? Well, Martin Luther King wasn't very divisive, right? He wanted, you know, uh, but it worked for the government the way he believed in, it's not like he didn't believe in government. He just believed that the government should be fair to everybody, right? Well, when he found out that the government in and of itself, government rule in and of itself is a problem, and he wanted to push the message of, you know what, maybe we shouldn't be relying on the government to be fair to anybody, let alone black folks. That's when they take your ass out. When you start pushing the message of anti-Zionism, when you start pushing the message of true freedom, not inclusion, freedom, right? You might get there. Oh shit, hold on now. The government is the problem. We need to break free from government. Not not this government, not that government, not replace the government with a better government. No, no, no. All together. Yeah. That's when they take your ass out. That's when they take you out. They they'll let you they'll let you spit all the rhetoric you spit. But when that rhetoric starts to go against when your rhetoric and your message exposes the true reality of what's going on, and your voice is that big, that's when they take your ass out. That's when you're no longer serving a purpose. Uh, Royalty says Kanye West, Travis Scott in the video, Artemis Connection. I don't. I need to look that up. Then they're already trying to study your internet. Well, whatever justification they could use to build those data centers, because you need all the server space you can get to run your internet, right? Uh, Miss Sunshine, she says we must stop falling for the conformed, sheeply way of thinking. Yeah, sheeple way of thinking. It will take a huge number of people to finally say enough is enough, and that's the point. That's the that's the point, y'all. The point is to get there to where there is enough of us. It doesn't have to be everybody. It doesn't even have to be the vast majority. Just enough to disrupt the system and render them impotent. Expose their expose them, right? You know, that's what, when you get to that point, that's when you've got something going on. That's when you really are making something move and shake, right? They need your willful compliance. They need it, right? They need your will, even when they fully turn you into a full complete slave. You won't know you're a slave because they will, you know, they will hit your dopamine centers, right? With AI, they'll convince you that you're living in bliss, but you're a slave. Well, when there was chattel slavery was very dangerous for them because there was no question, right? Even the slaves that didn't know they were slaves knew they were slaves because of just the inherent savagery that chattel slavery brought about. And that's dangerous for them because you're going to just, it's just going to spark resistance and cost them a whole lot of money, cost them control, revolts, rebellions, revolutions, you know, open resistance, you know, puts their lives in danger. No, no, no. They needed to find a different way to enslave the people and convince them that they're not slaves. They want to convince you that you live within a democracy where you choose your leaders, right? You get to go out and vote. They put it all on you. Well, you voted for them. You went out to vote. You got to go out and vote, right? A lot safer. See, that's how they were able to maintain this empire for as long as they've maintained it. Because typical empires last about 200 years on average. Well, this empire has been in place for over 250 years. And it's simply because they have convinced you that you choose who leads you, you choose who represents you. You know, you go out and vote, and everything should happen the way you want it to happen. And you look forward to that, right? Oh, well, it didn't work out this time. But I get to go out and vote next time and convince other people to vote the way I want to vote. And then it will be better. That's how they keep this cycle going. In the meantime, they're stripping you of more and more rights. Just straight stripping you of rights, right? These people that you vote for, they get the Congress people, they get up there and they create laws to further oppress you on your behalf. And they have convinced you that this is the right thing. Vote for me and I'll represent you well. Whew. But they get up there and they represent their corporate masters. That's it, man. Miss Sunshine says people such as this man you're writing now are rare. Well, thank you, Miss Sunshine. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. They just opened new data centers here in St. Louis. They're open data centers everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, listen, they are opening data centers everywhere. Marcy T. Prayer Warrior says, no, Turbo Gomez says, supposedly 50% of data centers have been canceled or put on hold. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I haven't heard that. Maybe that's a good thing. Mercy Prayer Warrior says, I'm a follower of the Lord God Almighty. Jesus Christ in the flesh, but I don't have to tell everybody on this channel. I have my own channel to tell. Salute to you, Marcy T. I don't have a problem with you saying that. You know, you get to, hey, do your thing, Marcy T. Prayer Warrior. I appreciate your voice. She says, and I've been with Freedom since he started driving around in his car playing music. It's been a long time, and I've been with this man, and he's a great brother. I appreciate you, Marcy T. Yes, she has been around since day one. Day one. Day one since, you know, the Fullerton Informer inspired me to speak up as well. That was my first inspiration to get on YouTube. Joe Imbriano, the Fullerton Informer, the California-born Italian American who is a Christian as well. He encouraged me because he had the courage to come out and speak the truth. Truth that I already knew about, things that I was already hip to. And I had just gotten hip to YouTube in and of itself as a platform for this type of thing. I had become aware of government bullshit, I would say back in 2025 or 2005. That's when I really started. That's when my mind, that's when I was awakened to the realities of the government. Now, mind you, I was a soldier. You know what? I'll go back further than that. When 9/11 happened in 2001, I was stationed in Korea. I was in Korea when 9/11 happened. And a lot of things that happened from that point during my service didn't make sense to me. And when I got out of active duty, you know, I started to come across a lot of information about 9/11. I would say like 2004, 2005. I was becoming hip to a lot of information about 9/11 that did not make a lot of sense. So I started to look into it. You know, I saw that film, the documentary Loose Change. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. That was my first real glimpse, right? That was my first, that's what cracked it open for me. And that was like 2005. No, that was 2006, right? Before that, I was already getting there. But when I saw Loose Change, I was like, I knew. That's when the depths of corruption was opened up to me. And I knew at that point that the left-right paradigm was a fucking lie. And I knew about that small hat land, or the small hat that owned the building, that owned the buildings, that took out that 100 billion, whatever, that insurance policy out on the Twin Towers right before it got blown up. And I started to see what Zionism really was. I was exposed to that in 2004, 2005. That's when I was exposed to it. Yes, salute. Miss Sunshine says, oh, and the lunatic libertarian, salute to my brother, drops a $2 super chat on your boy. He says, all centralized systems are failed, as they should. They're doomed to fail, right? Centralized power is doomed to fail because when you have such a concentration of power, it becomes corrupt. Corrupted systems break down. They break down. They collapse. But if the power is more evenly distributed amongst the people, individual power, power of self, control of self, sovereignty of self, Well, you can't fail a society. You can't fail hundreds of millions of people if you only have power over yourself. That's it. So if I fail and I control only myself, I control my actions, I control what I can and can't have, I control, you know, uh access, you know, morning. I provide for self, I'm self-sufficient. My failures only affect me. And even if I'm a leader of a community, well, if I'm leading a community, well, I'm going to encourage leadership in every single member of that community. So even if I fail my community, even if I fail in my leadership, guess what? The community doesn't fail because all they have to do, right, is use their own leadership qualities to make sure that when I fail, they can just pick right on up and keep it pushing. And if I fail and I feel bad, they can say, hey, man, you know, people fuck up, people make mistakes, people fail. But we are a community of self-empowered individuals. So don't even worry about it. Good guy activism, salute to you. Salute to good guy activism in the building. Salute to my brother. Y'all go check his channel out as well. Y'all go check him out. Orange Lily Few says hip hop, Public Enemy, Amory Baraka, Geronimo Jajaga, Asada, Mumia, and HBCUs hit me. That's what's up. Yeah. Ashra Kwesi. You know, Ashra Kwesi exposed me to the realities of ancient Kemet, right? I was influenced by a lot of people in those early days, right? Because I had gotten with, in 2004, 2005, I was rocking with this group of people that did spoken word in Cali. And they they further exposed, they knew too, they knew government corruption was, it was not concentrated. Government corruption was not concentrated, right, amongst the left or the right or this president or that president. They helped me understand that the corporations was really running shit. Yeah, the lobbyists, the elite class, they exposed me to the realities of that. So I was becoming hip to that at that point in time. You know, uh, but we didn't have YouTube back then. We didn't have that type of shit. We had spoken word. We were going around different clubs and whatnot. They was spitting. I didn't spit no spoken word. I wouldn't. That wasn't my thing. But I was like security to a degree, right? But anyway, we would go out and spit these facts. You know, we focused on government corruption and how it affected black folks. So that was our, we were pro-black RBG, RBGs. We were RBG. That's just what it was. It was focused on, uh, you know, uh, oppression of black folks. We knew but see, we knew that government corruption affected everybody, but it affected black folks the most, right? It affected black folks the most. And so that was our focus, right? Our focus was freeing the minds of black folks, you know, convincing black folks to be RBG. So I was RBG, right? Um, Lieutenant Lunatic Libertarian salute to you. He says, accountability. Thank you for your $5 super chat, brother. He says, accountability, skill sets, and responsibility of self and community has been lost in this country. No, all people do virtual signal. No, that's a fact. It's a fact. That's a fact. There is no sovereignty of self. There is no self sufficiency. But there can, actually, there are communities out there. There are people out there that are forming communities for that very purpose. They're just not very out and open. They're not open about it, and that's smart. There are people, black folks, yeah, hell, there are even white folks, um, that are they're going out and buying land. Multitudes of families. Families are coming together. They're buying land to be self-sufficient and create their own communities. They're just not out and open about it, which is smart. Um, and then you had that white dude in Kansas or Arkansas. Y'all know what happened there, right? It's not really working out the way he wanted it because he just run his mouth too much. You know, he wanted to build a community of white people where white people can go and be white together, which I have no problem with. It is what it is. I don't think it's working out too well for him though. Drones flying around every night in Virginia, PA, flying over military bases, etc., setting up war from within for the excuse to take over other countries. Yeah. I mean, I've been saying for a couple years now, for a few years actually, that I believe there is some false flag attack that will come, that will drive us on this country in this country. And I saw it because of all those tens of millions of people, Joe Biden, well, the Biden administration allowed to come into the country, right? Tens of millions of people, well, over 10 million people, whatever the number is. Yeah. So don't put it past your government to initiate a false flag attack to achieve an agenda. Don't put it past them. Miss Sunshine says, oh, she's speaking to somebody. Trump makes mediocre men continue to be mediocre. That's funny. These are facts. But, because he's the biggest loser. Lots of sleeper cells. Yep. Sleeper cells that might be, you know, encouraged to be created because of our own government. Our government, the United States government, is great at creating terrorists. We just are. Especially terrorists of the Middle Eastern persuasion. We love creating us some terrorists, don't we? We create every terrorist group that we complain about has been formed because of us. We arm these people, right? We destabilize their countries. We use them, right? We use them to attack their own country, to attack their own people, to attack their own dictators and leadership. We completely destabilize their country, their land. We rape them of resources and put them in a desperate position. And then we turn them into our enemies. And then we wonder why they become terrorists. Well, we created the motherfuckers. Yeah. We we did. We did that. We created ISIS. We created the Taliban. We created Al Qaeda. Right? Hell, we are the reason, us in Israel are the reason that Houthi rebels came about. Houthis they call them Houthi rebels, but they're a part of the government. Hezbollah, Hamas, all these so-called terrorist groups are just resistance fighters for the Semitic people. They are Semitic freedom fighters. Yes, Orange Lily for you, creating the need for resistance. We put them in the position to terrorize what they terrorize. Of course, they're gonna hate the United States. They're gonna hate America because we go over there, we bomb them to oblivion, we destabilize their economy, we drive them into famine, and we what do we expect? What do y'all expect to happen from that? It's wild as hell to me. Wild as hell. Turbo Gomez says, I just finished the book by Scott Horton. Enough is enough. Time to end the war on terror. It talks about this. Yeah. The war on terror was the war on a issue of our own creation. We created terrorism. We created it. And so we create the problem. We create the problem, which causes a fear-based reaction of the people so that we can provide the pre-planned solution that further sends us into oppression and further enriches the elite class and gives them more power over us. This so-called Middle Eastern terrorism brought about the Patriot Act, right? The Model State Health Emergency Powers Act. You understand? We create these problems. We did it. The United States. The United States, Europe, Israeliante. Yeah, we create these problems. And then they tell us that we need to spend trillions of dollars to bomb the shit out of other countries, bomb them, destroy their oil fields, destroy their infrastructure, cripple their economy, drive them into famine. And we're the fucking good guys? We're the good guys. Mm-mm-mm. It's so obvious right now that special forces members, former special forces groups members like Valhalla, he's speaking out against it. He was a fucking participant. Mm-hmm. Uh, those special forces groups are the ones that trained these rebel groups. They trained them, they armed them, right? They send them out there to attack their own government military, right? They put them in front of them. They train them. They arm them. Yeah. Valhalla, VFT. He'll tell you his damn self. Yeah. He was he participated. So if he can see the truth, and he was a goddamn one of the goddamn orchestrators on the lowest level. He wasn't not saying that he was an elite class member, but guess what? He acted on the behalf of the elites to help form terrorist groups. Y'all remember last year that brother from that brother that I think it was Palestinian. He was uh he was brought to America because he participated. When he was 15 years old, he was one of those people that they armed and trained to attack his own government. You remember he killed that the National Guards woman and shot the other National Guardsman? He was one of those. He was Afghani, actually. Yes, he was. He was in Afghanistan. He was part of the Afghanistan military that we armed up. Yeah, we trained that dude. Guess what? He came over here and committed a terrorist attack and killed a National Guard person. Killed that chick and shot the other guy. He came into this country. He was brought here by our government. Why? Well, because he wasn't safe in Afghanistan anymore, because we pulled out very, very retardedly. Remember that? Remember the worst pullout ever? The worst pullout game than me. We had the worst pullout game in Afghanistan than me. Worse than me. I got 6 kids. My pullout game was weak. Mm-hmm. 6 kids. Back to back to back. Talk about my pullout game. Shit. Shit. When you got that wet and that good, let me tell you something. Let me tell you, I got 6 kids because of that wet. Yeah. That wet, that good. Yeah. Yeah. So Afghanistan had that wet. Pullout game was weak as fuck. Pullout game was weak. We could not, we pulled out of there. And we left tens of millions of dollars in military equipment. We lost the airfield that we spent hundreds of millions of dollars on. And the guy that attacked those National Guards people in Washington, D.C., he couldn't stay in his country. And as a matter of fact, they're saying that his family was threatened by the Taliban. So he was forced to do that attack. He was forced to commit that terrorist act because his family was in danger in Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. That's what happened. So, because Afghanistan had that good wet, because it was a squirter, pullout game was weak as fuck. And what did that do? It drove that man to attack, to commit that terrorist act in Washington, D.C., which led to the death of a National Guards woman. And it's our fault. The government. It's the government's fault. And if you want to be a statist, if you want to believe the left-right paradigm bullshit, it was Joe Biden's fault. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't Joe Biden's fault. Joe Biden was just a fucking puppet, just like Donald Trump is a puppet, right? Yeah. Yes. Orange Lily for you. Afghanistan was a squirter. Mm-hmm. Iron Troll says, yo, I got 6 kids. My pull-out game weak as fuck. I'm trying to tell you, pimping. Yes. Pull-out game weak. Orange Lily for you says it was a trilateral commission. Facts, bro. My pull-out game weak as fuck. But that pull-out game in Afghanistan was weaker than that. Ooh. Get some stretching in, y'all. It's important to stretch after you do some rucking, man. Especially these hamstrings. Oh, goodness. Woo-wee. Pull-out game is weak, boy. Pull-out game just weak. But that wet, boy, I'm trying to tell you, boy, when that wet there, boy, man, let me tell you something. Whoo. Yeah, I did do that. When that wet get cracking, goodness gracious. I got to be honest, y'all. I can never understand homosexuality. I would never. I can't understand it. Let me ask y'all a question. Why do why do dudes like booty holes? What Orange Lily say? What'd she say? You're child free? Shit. I don't know what you. That's probably by choice. Why do y'all go into comatose sleep afterwards? Because it just takes a lot. Listen, a man like myself, I know we're getting off into some other shit. Yeah, yeah. I don't understand the booty hole play because there's something about the vagina. Do you guys know what's in there? It is perfectly suited for a penis. The vagina is perfectly suited for a penis. Um, there's some ambient up in that piece. Because a man like myself, right? I know we're going off into some different shit, but that's what happens when you have real conversations, right? Um, it's because a man like myself with that good stroke game, I got that good stroke game. That's just real. Just good. That I got that good stroke game. Long stroke, deep stroke, all that shit. Just you know, I can. I don't do that rabbit fucking, but I can. I can. The bottom line is when you put the work in as a man, you got to put the work in, right? It takes a lot of energy to stroke for your stroke game to be on point. It takes energy, and then after you let off, after you let off, Iron Trill will say as hell, why do women complain about minute men? But that's a compliment. How good. I'm trying to tell you, at my age, I got about a good 10 minutes. Good 10 minutes. But in those 10 minutes, right? In those 10 minutes, she gonna be busting like 10, 15 times. And in that 10 minutes, you're gonna be getting off quite a bit. So I've mastered the art of not having to go. Because when I was in my 20s, you think you got to do it for an hour, hour and a half. You didn't drained her of all her juices. No. True Will says I'm 47. And them 10 minutes are late. Yeah, exactly. I don't need no hour no more. You learn, right? You learn. Like listen. And that's the blessed thing. Women, y'all are blessed. Women are blessed because they can come like y'all can get off like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times and keep going. Y'all, you know, as long as you're hydrated, if if that woman is hydrated and you turn her on, listen, you're gonna get that wet wet. That's why I never understand the booty. I never understood the booty hole. Orange Lily for you says my reverse cowgirl. And I'm trying to tell you, I never understood the booty hole because it's like that the vagina is so wet and just so juicy. And there's the tissue in there is ribbed and silky, you know, and it's like nothing like it. But if you if you can turn that woman on, yeah, you turn her on and she's well hydrated, yeah, you're gonna be getting that goody gushy gushy. Yeah. So it's really up to you, man. It's up to the fellas to get the ladies there, in my opinion. Just in my experience, I had to learn, right? Because, you know, a lot of men, they like to blame women for bad coochie. But it's just because she's not turned on. She's not that, she might let you hit it, but if she's not turned on, she's not gonna get wet like that. You gotta turn her on. You know what I'm saying? You got to turn her on. Yeah, we are tripping, ain't we? Plants only. Oh yeah, orange lily for you. You'll be on top. I like that. Yeah, I know we offered this some different shit, but it's all good. Uh, Trill says, but if she can master the Kegels, man, that's a whole nother ball of wax right there, pimping. She don't want to let go. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. If a woman is into it and she is enjoying it, she don't want you to pull out. She gonna grip that thing. Right? You gonna try to pull out, she gonna grip that thing. She gonna grip it. She gonna grip it, and it's gonna be hard for you to pull out. Let me anyway, y'all. Yeah, we on some different shit. Shit, that's some demon time. Yeah, she be on that demon time. You up in there, you giving her that good work. You giving her that good work, and she coming back to back, and she don't want to stop, and she feel like you trying to pull out. Yeah, it's a wrap. She'll grip that thing. She'll grip it, and then it'll get more wet, and then you're like, fuck that, fuck it. Y'all ladies don't understand the feeling of getting ready to let off, and you got that wet, and you got that good grip. You got that grippy wet, that grippy gush. Yeah, it ain't gonna happen. Desiree Oliver, salute to the beautiful Desiree Oliver in the building. Salute to the queen. What my Wi-Fi wife is in the building. She says, "Why are you telling people our business?" I wish, Desiree. I wish it was our business. I know y'all ain't you Snapzilla, ain't you married? Ain't you married in real life? Yeah, I'm married. Yeah. But my wife has an understanding. My wife has an understanding. I'm not going to say I'm polygamous because I only have one wife, but I have quite a few Wi-Fi wives. But I just don't exercise that. I don't exercise it because these chicks is crazy. Yeah, for real, Orange Lily. Absolutely. I am a man. I am a man whose wife is understanding in real life. I do like variety. Absolutely. Variety is the spice of life. Man, yeah, you got that, man. Let me tell you something, man. That's why I don't understand the booty hole. Like, what is it about that? Because you want something tighter? Like, what's the deal? Then you got to put lubrication on it. You got to, and it's nasty shit. Y'all do know shit comes out of there, right? Shit comes out of the booty hole. Anyway, Brody Love says, so can we. But yeah, my wife is she knows because she understands that the type, I am a provider, I'm a protector. She's well taken care of and she appreciates me. So she knows she's reached the point where she's like, hey, but I haven't met in real life any women that are like, I put myself out there. I'll just say that. And what I have encountered is not very encouraging. Not very encouraging at all. I haven't even actually went on real dates. I've just talked. Just have conversations. You meet them, you have a conversation, you try to get to know them, and then they showing their ass. They just show their ass, and it's like, and it takes energy, right? You gotta have the energy for it. And I got 6 kids, so I got 6 kids and a wife, and you have to be really worthy, like really. You got to be, up here for me to use any energy on another woman. She has to be on point.
She got to be right on point, and she has to be good with the program. Like the program is, I got a wife with 6 kids, and it's enough. It's enough. Let's see. Deborah says it's too early for that kind of talk. It's nine. It's 9 in the morning. Orange Lily for you says I'm celibate by choice. Oh, that's what's up. Good for you. I was celibate for 3 years one time. I was celibate for 3 years by choice because I was in my 20s. I was like 25 years old. I was just doing too much. I was doing too much. I was out there just, I was a hoe straight up and down. I was a straight up hoe. Just out there, just hoeing around. Just, you know what I'm saying? And I had to slow my ass down. I said, you know what? I'm doing too much right now. Let me slow down, you know, and reassess. Let me reassess my life because yeah, I'm doing too much. And so I stopped. Yeah, I was celibate for 3 years. Mm-hmm. So, but you know, you learn a lot of things about yourself. And so when I stopped being celibate, it wasn't with my wife. It was with one one young lady right before I got with my wife. So she was able to get it. You know what I mean? After I stopped, she convinced me. She convinced me to put that thing on her. You know what I mean? And at first she was with it. See the problem is when you start spending the night, right? So I was celibate, and then I met this young lady. Uh, I met this young lady at at funnily enough, it was at a a spot in Leimert Park where uh my people had booked a theater to show an Alex Jones documentary about the Trilateral Commission. I met her there. So we went to a documentary. We went to see a documentary about the Trilateral Commission and how I think it was 2008 or 2009. And they were talking about how Barack Obama and Bill Clinton and George Bush went to this secret meeting with the Trilateral Commission, and they were talking about running that type of shit. I met her at that event, and at first we was just talking, getting to know each other, and then we started spending the night. Yeah, don't do that. If you plan on saving it right for the right person, and you don't know for a fact that's the right, don't start spending the night. Don't do that. Because I spent the night at her crib. I was hanging out at her crib, and she we started grinding on each other and kissing and grinding and all that, and she was grinding on me. And man, let me tell you something. She was I'm trying to tell you, we had clothes on, okay? We had drawers on, but we were grinding and kissing and rubbing on each other. Yeah, she put that cat on. Yeah. No, but we didn't do it that night. That first night that I spent the night at her house, we didn't do it that night. No, we didn't do it that night. But we were grinding on each other, and she was bussing. Yeah, she was bussing, grinding on me. Orange Lily View says, I just can't give mine away. I heard that. I heard that. But yeah, she was kind of in the same mode as well. She was celibate. Yeah, we was hunching. Exactly, Trill. That shit was crazy. We was hunching, and she was bussing. And I said, good goddamn. And she was grinding on me. Like I wasn't touching her. I could feel it. I could feel how wet that shit was crazy. Yeah, we was hunching. Yeah, two grown adults, two grown ass people sitting up in there humping and grinding. Mm-hmm. And oh yeah, and boy, I was talking so much shit in her ear. I was talking so much shit. I put on the voice and I was just telling her shit. I was talking to her while we were grinding. I was just telling her, I was just just spitting mad wordplay. And she was grinding. And the more I was saying, the more I was talking, the more intense she got. Yeah, Trill, she is. Yeah. Orange Lily, yeah, Orange Lily, she be getting like that though. Orange Lily be getting like that. Yes. Salute to Desiree Oliver as well. She said, I'm going to tell grandma. That's funny. So I was, I know people coming in like, wait, I thought he was talking about Donald Trump being a loser. That we did talk about that, but you know, sometimes the shit has been on for almost 3 hours. I've been doing this live stream. But anyway, so I was just talking. I was talking, just and I'm whispering and I'm just kissing her ear and her neck, and she's just getting just super duper, super duper, super duper wet, super duper horny, and like uh, I know, right, Trill? She needs to put that picture up. Yeah, it is grown. Yeah, we some grown ass men and women in the Saturday. What you were saying to her, so I can tell. Just a lot of shit. Just whatever came to my mind. I was telling her, I, I don't even remember, to be honest with you, because when you're in the moment, and I was really into her, so I was spitting the truth. I was telling her what I was feeling, right? Um, I don't know. I was probably just telling her how her mind. I was mind fucking her, homie. Y'all know Dead Prez. Y'all know who Dead Prez is? Dead Prez is. Marquez says where I'm from, Cali originally, but I live in South Carolina. Desiree Nicole. Oh, you didn't change your name, did they? Desiree Nicole, my French mama. She says I'm glad some of the chat got some last night and this morning, right? um, no, I was you heard that, you know, Dead Press. Yeah, yeah. I was exactly Orange Leaf for you. I was intellectually stimulating her. I was giving her mind sex. Mind sex. That's what I was doing. Dead Prez, look that song up. Mind sex. We ain't got to take our clothes off yet. You know what I mean? So I was just doing that. I was talking. I was talking to her, whispering in her ear, just, you know, just doing that. And it's very intense. She was grinding, and then I think it was like one or two more nights like that, and then eventually we just fucked, and it was like it was crazy work. That was wild. That was when we did. It was like that was one of the most. The first time we fucked. After that, don't Orange Lily Feed. Don't be typing your number up in here. You better not type your number. Just send me an email. That's all you got to do. Just send an email. Don't be typing your number up in here. Oh, Marquez said she got some last night. Good for you. Good for you. But after that first time, right? When we finally did it, it was you don't email. Oh, well, um, after that, right? Oh, you old school. You don't email. That's what's up. So after that, the first time we did it, I do have a Facebook and Instagram, but I'm not gonna put my Facebook and Instagram on here. You know what I mean? Uh, but I'll look you up. I'll look you up on Instagram. MySpace, no. Uh, so that was like one of the most intense sexual experience I ever had in my life. Oh man, that was the most that was the most intense experience. Anthony, what was your joke? Jan says melting in Alaska. That's crazy. That was the most intense experience. That was something else, man. It was like, mm, mm, mm. Oh, you made a joke about the Epstein emails? That's crazy. So, yeah, that was a very great experience. Unfortunately, it didn't work out with her because she was full of shit, right? She was I don't want to say she was a liar, but she definitely misrepresented a lot of things about herself that turned me off, right? But that was one of the best sexual experiences I ever had in my life. And we had more experiences like that. It was more every time, every single time, every time. It was just an amazing, euphoric, just one of the best experiences. But she was just, you know, she wasn't. She was over hyping, like not over hyping herself. She was just misrepresenting herself. I'll just say that. Just me says she saw the host in the light and said no. Huh? Stormy B Man, salute to the brother Stormy B Man in the building. Salute to the sensei. So, um, that's just that was my experience when I stopped being celibate. Marquez says her head and kitty game is the best. That's what's up. Yeah, Anthony, she was fake. She was fake. She was not honest. She was like, when I found out certain shit, I was like, why? Why would you why am I finding this shit out now? Like why wasn't this why didn't you explain this before? Right? It was just, there was no reason for it. There was no reason for the misrepresentation that she made, right? Yeah, Trump is a very bad joke. And he's a loser. Dustin Malele says, yeah, the fakeness, I just couldn't get with it. Why be that emotionally connected only the front? Well, Orange Lily, I would love to ask her that question. I just stopped fucking with her. I just cut her off when I found out. When she told me what was up, I was like, oh, say word? That was a wrap for me. But I think it was just because at that point in time, I was heavy into EFI. I don't know if you guys are familiar with EFI. EFI is like, the Orishas and, that belief system. You believe, like Ogun, Oshun, Shango, and that type of thing. No, she wasn't bald headed. No, it wasn't physical. No, she didn't cheat. No, she didn't cheat, and she wasn't bald headed. None of that. Uh, she was just fronting about what she had and who she was. She was fronting about what she had. She was fronting about her status. I'll say that. But she was that type of woman is a weakness for me. The type of woman she was. And it was explained to me by an Ifa priest. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Ifa. Yeah, I'm Ogun and Yemaya. Those are my Orishas. Ogun and Yemaya. Of course you're Oshun. Of course, Desiree. of course, of course Desiree is Oshun. Of course. And I'm sure Orange Lily is Oshun as well. I have a weakness for Oshun women. I found out from a priestess, a Papa Baba I forgot his name. But I went and got a reading by him, okay? And he explained, you want me to figure out your Oshun? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Yeah. Oshuns love, see, I am Ogun, right? As you can see from the green, right? I like, I am drawn to red and green and nature, and I work with my hands and all that stuff. I'm an Ogun man, and this Baba, this priest, he did a reading for me, and he called me out right on. He was right on point. He didn't know her. He didn't know her from Adam. I was introduced to Ifa by this young lady who was my. She gave me massages. I went to her for massages. She gave the best massages I've ever had in the world. Am I mixed? Yeah, yeah. I'm black, but I'm mixed. Yeah, I'm. My grandmother was white. But what is Oshun? She is a problem. Oshun is a problem. Oshun is like the goddess of intimacy, the goddess of sexuality. She's very, very sexual and very, very like feminine. The goddess of femininity, and she's just, and she uses her feminine powers to basically manipulate Ogun. That's their story. So Ogun and Oshun, Ogun loves the shit out of Oshun, and uh, like Ogun is drawn to Oshun. Oshun she loves Ogun, but she manipulates him. Like she knows that she can get him to do whatever she wants. So the guy, the priest that told me that I went and got the reading from, he said that I have a problem with Oshun women because I'm Ogun. Because Oshun women are very feminine, very sexual, very like soft. They come off as soft, and they walk around with. So what they do is they draw Ogun out of his domain. Ogun's domain is in the forest, in the wild. Well, Oshun will stand by a river or a lake or a waterfall and drip honey all over herself, and Ogun will come out. Yeah, Ogun will come out and is drawn to Oshun. So, Orange Lily Fuse says, I don't manipulate. I'm straight up. Yeah. Now, Oshun women don't manipulate Ogun on purpose. It's just, you know, they 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 are Ogun is weak towards Oshun women. Oshun women don't do it on purpose. They're not like, oh, I'm out to get him. No, it's not deliberate. It just is what it is. It just is what it is. It's just natural. So she told me, the priest told me that I was drawn to Oshun women, and that the woman I was dealing with was Oshun. Now, this was around the time I was finding out that she was misrepresenting or being dishonest about herself. So, like I said, she wasn't cheating. She wasn't none of that type of shit. Because we weren't really together like that. We weren't like boyfriend. Like we were just hanging out. We didn't put any labels on it or anything like that. So it wasn't anything like that. But uh no, she was dishonest about something else. But he told me that she was like misrepresenting herself. She was Oshun and she had Oshun energy because he can read the Oshun energy on me. And he my Ogun energy and knew that I could be easily manipulated by her and drawn into some bullshit. And he said, I suggest you pull back. And so I was like, yeah, you know what, Desiree, she probably was. Yes, Desiree, exactly. It's your nature. And now, don't get me wrong. Oshun women can be great women. Like they can be uh righteous, good women. It's just it's in their nature to be able to bend Ogun men toward their will, right? Uh, and it's because of the level of femininity they express. Oshun women are very, very feminine. Ogun men are drawn to Oshun women. And Oshun women can get an Ogun man to do anything they want. Anything. Damn near anything. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing, right? It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It just so happens that she was just being dishonest about something in her life. And he was just like, it might not be a great thing for me to deal with. So I just was like, all right. And when I see more of the signs, when I started to see more of the signs of that, I was like, yeah, he's right. So I stopped fucking with her. Always better to be alone than with the wrong person. Absolutely. Bun says, what the F are we talking about? Just some different shit. Just different shit. You know, I didn't talk about Donald Trump. I didn't talk about the government. And it went into a different direction. That happens. So not to say Oshun women are bad, because I'm only drawn to Oshun women. I don't like any other, because of the level of femininity, how they are comfortable in their femininity, right? They're comfortable in their femininity. They're not on that they're not trying to be men or better than men, or no, they're feminine women. And that's what Ogun men like. She was very feminine. She had an independent streak, but she was, at the end of the day, she was very feminine. She had an independent streak. Right, orange leaf, exactly. And I'm not saying Oshun did not love Ogun. It was just she knew that he would do whatever she wanted. Yeah, and she was who she was. So now this Oshun woman that I was dealing with had an independent streak, and it was kind of fabricated, right? She was trying too hard to like have that independent streak, but she was, at the end of the day, she wanted a dominant man, but she didn't know how to accept it, right? Dustin Melee says we love fem. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Never heard of an Oshun woman? Look it up. Look up Oshun, Ogun, Shango. Those are Orishas. Yemaya. Those are all Orishas. What did the stream about? Oh, the stream was about Donald Trump and Benjamin Nosferatu being losers, being the world's biggest losers. And I was on here for 3 hours. I've been on here for almost 3 hours. And the conversation went into a different direction. How do I define an alpha man? I don't. I don't like that word. I don't, because they didn't just took the whole shit and just yeah, I don't like that. Alpha man. Eh. I don't try to define that type of shit. Orange Lily for you says I'm a free spirit, but I may need tethered sometimes. I don't really know what Shango is, but I think I like it too. Shango is Shango was the god. Basically, he was the Orisha of fire. He's like the god of war, of that type of dude. That's or Shango is. I don't want to say he's the opposite of Ogun, but he's like the leader of the Orishas. He's like fire based, a fire based god. Fire, war, violence, that type of thing. Anyway, y'all, gotta get out of here. You're a Sagittarius? That's what's up, Orange Lily. Yes, Oshun or Shango is like a general, right? And Ogun is more of an independent, free. Ogun likes to mind his own business in nature, right? He's not a follower, but he's not um, a firebrand dictator like Oshun or like Shango, right? And Shango is essentially Oshun's weakness. Orange Lily for you says, "You go fight. I'll make you a nice meal before you do." That's what's up. Hey, that's the ticket right there. Anthony Doherty says, "Thank you for all the conversation. This is what I needed exactly to be following you. Salute to you. I appreciate you, man." Thank you, Dustin. Peace from Alaska. Salute to you, Jan. I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here, guys. I might come on later, and I think I might actually. You got my six. That's what's up, Anthony. I might actually do another live stream later. Thank you. I am sure will. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Salute to I am sure will. Make sure you drop your link, bro. In Black Spring or Autumn, if you still in here, and all you guys, hide your pheromones. That's funny. I might do something later. Uh, Invite some people on from my computer. We'll see. I'm going to be hanging out with the kids today. I think we're going to go to the arcade. Oh, you're working? That's what's up. I got to do a little work too for a couple hours, but just for a couple hours. Lolo, I appreciate you. Anyway, much love. Like, share, subscribe, and let's keep marching forward toward freedom and truth. And yeah, man, don't forget the world's biggest losers: Donald Trump, Benjamin Nosferatu. Peace out, y'all.